Well, it's got a blade back on it. It's turned around. Nice and quiet. So I didn't shoot a video of the door after I'd finished it. They needed it back, and I didn't have any way of filming it other than my phone. And but the door came out good. He's happy with it, and he's waiting on his fire retardant cord to go around the door before I can put it back on. But it looks like it's going to get him through till he can get a new door ordered this spring. So I'm going to pull some maintenance on this. You can see already in the short 2 months all the dirt that's collected behind this unit on the sander. Now these take an awful beating with the salt that we have, plus we put salt and sand. And I added a new chain. There was a strap on it one time when it was original and new, and the strap broke. And this kind of keeps the from smashing the tail lights. So there's running lights on the back here. I replaced that one and did a little bit of wiring. I just I have it tipped down to put the zip ties on it, and because you got to have your three. And this came from not Harbor Freight. It came from Northern Tool and Equipment. This is a Salt Dog by Byers, Byers Company, and it's been a very, very good sander. Briggs & Stratton engine, electric start from the cab. It does have a recoil start on it, just in case the battery dies or something. Used to have a battery here that collected all this stuff on it. It kept ruining the battery, so put a garden tractor battery up here on top, and that's been there 3 years and it's still going on the same battery. Literally put it back on in the fall. What is going on? This happened. There, is that a little better? I don't know if it made any difference for you, but boy, it really got fuzzy there for a second. Not sure what's going on. So yeah. So anyway, I guess I can do it here. So there's still some adjustment as the chains wear on these sanders. You know, you got to keep taking up the slack on them so they don't skip and jump off and or break. So what I did was, if you can see that, here, we'll put the light on it. So it's all the way out now. There's no more adjustment, so we will have to take a link out of it. Or the chain actually doesn't look bad. I mean, it's wearing and it's not thin, it's not rotten. So I think what the next step is in this spring, if we can get through that long, the winter with this sander the way it is, I'll get some links and take a couple links out of it and maybe put a half link back in it, bring the adjustment, which would be here all the way back. This unit here would slide. That's all the adjustment we've used on this. Now granted, when it was new, it was right about here at the beginning of this opening, so we've adjusted about 4 inches on it, which is pretty normal for the wear. I mean, these move a lot of material. This is basically handling 2 yards, and a yard weighs of salt or sand salt mix. We're probably getting a good 2, I'd say 1.5 yards is what we put on it. We don't try to have it running off the sides and the top. We're close to the village, and we can go back and get another load if we don't want. But so I would say 1.5 yards. So we roughly put about 3,500 pounds on this. So it's pulling 3,500 pounds of dirt down that steel tray in the bottom. So yeah, and let me see if I can show you. I don't know if I'm boring everybody with this or not, but let me see if I can get up there and show you. So there's the deflector. It runs down so all the dirt doesn't get on it and stall out it. But you can see the slats that run there on the bottom. Well, they pull themselves along, and it pulls it to the auger, and the auger spins, and you know, that's what. But you can see about where the line is of sand. We don't overfill it, so there's probably probably 2/3 full when we do it. Well, anyway, so I couldn't get bolts that long, so this is the original adjustment bolt. And I couldn't get any more adjustment. I was all the way out. So I went and got some all thread, whatever you want to call it, or threaded rod, and I got four new nuts. And I basically cut the thread rod to the length I wanted, which was basically 7.5 inches. I screwed the nut so it left about a 1/2 inch gap in the center, and then I filled the center of the bolt, which would be, let me see if I can show you on this one. So I would basically, that's about what I had on the reveal, or no reveal actually on this one, and then I plugged that full of weld and made my own adjustment bolts. So that's where I am on that. I finished the wiring. I got one more light to fix, and then pretty much the first 2 months worth of beating on this truck is caught back up again. So the red truck is gone through, the silver truck is good, the Dodge is in good shape. We just put new coil springs on the front of the Dodge, and it's sitting back up in the original position where it should have been. I went with a 2-inch lift on the front end, and without the blade on it, it sits nice and level, and with the blade on it, it still sits level. So it's not like running uphill. It actually leveled out the truck where it sits pretty nice straight line. It's not dog nosed. It was like looked like an old hot rod there lately, with the rear end up in the back and the front end down on the ground, and that was basically because 200,000 or 195,000 miles of pulling trailers, and with a heavy blade on the front, had kind of taken its toll on the front springs. So it's got new shocks, new springs. We did all the brakes on it. I guess that truck is in pretty good shape too. So this is just a little video up on what I cleaned up on. So I'll get this truck outside. I gotta blow all the dirt out of there. I'm gonna grease all my chains, oil the chains, put some grease in the bearings, and on to the next. Hopefully maybe tomorrow, the next day, I can get on the putting the fuel pump on the Polaris snow sled. That's a little bit different to do. I also have to fix the shifter in the 92 Ford. The shifter bracket broke. You can still put it in out of gear. It just makes the four-wheel drive shifter a little floppy. So I'll probably take that out and do some welding on it, and I'll show you. Hopefully I'll bring my camera. Remember to bring my camera, and I'll show some on that. Okay, thanks for stopping in.